Good morning, student. Now today, this is our third lecture on current electricity, in which we will study what is Wheatstone's bridge. But before that, we must know why this Wheatstone's bridge is invented. It was invented. As we know that the resistance of material, it depends on so many factors. It depends on temperature of material. It depends on what? The strain acting on that material. It depends on displacement of material. It depends on the humidity present in that material. And due to variation in these physical quantities, resistance of material, it varies within the range of few milliohm to few mega ohm. Few milliohm to what? Few mega ohm. So, if we know the method by which we can measure the unknown resistance of a material, ultimately we can measure these physical quantity. And Wheatstone's bridge it is basically invented to measure. It is used to measure what? Unknown resistance. Wheatstone's bridge is used to measure the unknown resistance of a material, but the range of that unknown resistance, it must be within the limit of minimum 10 ohm up to what? Few hundred ohm. So if unknown resistance is lying within the range of 10 ohm to few hundred ohm, then we can make use of Wheatstone's bridge for measurement of unknown resistance. Second thing, this Wheatstone's bridge is also used to measure, Wheatstone's bridge is also used to calibrate, calibrate the measuring instruments such as voltmeter or an ammeter. So there are 2 points. Wheatstone's bridge, basically it is used to measure unknown resistance ranging within the limit of 10 to few hundred ohm. And second thing, it is used to calibrate the measuring instruments such as a voltmeter or an ammeter. Now in the examination there comes a question that describe Wheatstone's bridge and hence obtain bridge balancing condition. Maybe a question for 3 marks or for 4 marks. So what is Wheatstone's network first? A quadrilateral ABCD. Look at this figure. Quadrilateral ABCD formed by the 4 resistor PQSR as its 4R. It is known as a Wheatstone's network. What is Wheatstone's network? A quadrilateral formed by the 4 resistor PQSR as a 4 arms. It is known as a Wheatstone's network and it can be converted into Wheatstone's bridge just by connecting a galvanometer of internal resistance G between the point B and that of D, while the diagonally opposite corners A and B, they are what? Diagonally opposite corners. So diagonally opposite corners A and C, they are connected to a source of EMF E. They are connected in series with what? Source of EMF E and key K. Now how this Wheatstone's bridge will work? As soon as we close the key K, what happens? This battery, it sends the current I. That current I, it starts flowing from its positive terminal and it will come to end on its negative terminal. Okay? When current I reaches the junction point A, according to Kirchhoff's current law, depending upon resistance P and that of S, this current I is divided into 2 parts. Part of current flowing through resistance P is I1 and part of current flowing through resistance S is I2. Values of I1 and I2 depends on value of resistance P and that of S. When current I1 reaches a junction point B, now there are two paths for that current I1. Some current will flow through galvanometer, remaining current will flow through what? Resistors Q. If I say that the current flowing through galvanometer is Ig, means from the current I1 which approaches the junction, if Ig current is flowing away from the junction B, that is through the galvanometer, then naturally the current flowing through resistors Q, it must be equal to I1 minus of Ig. Now look at junction point B. According to Kirchhoff's current law, incoming current, only one incoming current I1. Incoming current is equal to outgoing current. Here there are two outgoing current. First is Ig and second is what? I1 minus Ig. So since plus Ig minus Ig get cancelled. So I1 is equal to I1. Now look at another junction point D. Again according to Kirchhoff's current law. At junction point D, one of the incoming current is I2 while other incoming current is what? Ig. There are two incoming current at junction point D. So according to Kirchhoff's current law, sum of incoming current is equal to outgoing current. So here outgoing current is I2 plus Ig. Now look at junction point C. At junction point C, the incoming current is what? I1 minus Ig and I2 plus Ig. So at a junction point C, the two incoming currents are I1 minus Ig and other one is what? I2 plus of Ig, and here minus Ig get cancelled with what? Plus Ig. So here the outgoing current is I1 plus what? I2. But we know that current I1 is equal to, current I is equal to, at junction point A, I is equal to I1 plus I2 according to Kirchhoff's current law. So, by using Kirchhoff's current law, we have seen what are the different current flowing through the different branches of Whitstone's network. At junction point A, incoming current is I, and it must be equal to sum of outgoing current, that is I1 plus I2. So this is equation number 1. Now, in a closed loop, you can consider any closed loop A, B, D, A. So in a closed loop A, B, D, A, apply Kirchhoff's voltage law. In the last period we had seen Kirchhoff's voltage law. What is that Kirchhoff's voltage law? Algebraic sum of potential differences and electromotive forces in a closed loop is equal to 0. Apply Kirchhoff's voltage law to a closed loop A, B, D, A. From A to B, current is I1, resistance is P. Conventional current I1 is flowing in a direction in which we are tracing the circuit. We are tracing the circuit from A to B. Current I1 is flowing from A to B. So therefore the product of current and resistance, that is potential difference, across that it is taken with what? Negative sign. This is sign convention. From B to D, current is Ig, resistance is G. Current is flowing in the direction same as that of direction in which we are tracing the circuit. Means we are tracing the circuit from B to D. Current is also flowing from B to D. Therefore, the product of current and resistance, it is taken as what? Negative, according to sign convention used for potential difference in Kirchhoff's voltage law. Then move from D to A. Current is I2, resistance is S. But while tracing the circuit, we are moving from D to A, whereas current is flowing from what? A to D. Means current, conventional current is flowing in a direction opposite to that of direction in which we are tracing the circuit. Therefore, product of current and resistance for this branch, it is taken with what? Positive sign. Now, is there any source of EMF? No. So, there is no term of source of EMF, and this is equal to 0. So, this is equation number 2. equation number 2. Again, we can consider one more closed loop. So in a closed loop, B, C, D, B. In a closed loop, B, C, D, B. Apply Kirchhoff's voltage law, KVL, Kirchhoff's voltage law. B to C, current is I1 minus Ig, resistance is Q. Conventional current is flowing in a direction in which we are tracing the circuit. We are tracing circuit from B to C. Conventional current is what? I1 minus Ig. So therefore, product of current and resistance, it is taken with what? Negative sign. Move from C to D. Current is I2 plus Ig and resistance is R. Because conventional current is flowing in a direction opposite to that of direction in which we are tracing the circuit. Therefore, this product of current and resistance, it is taken with what? Positive sign. Then move from B to B, because B, C, D, B. We are tracing circuit in this manner, that is in clockwise sense. So while moving from D to B, tracing the circuit from D to B, current is Ig, resistance is G, and conventional current is flowing in a direction opposite to that of direction in which we are tracing the circuit. Therefore, Ig into G is taken with what? Positive sign. Again, there is no source of EMF. So here no term of EMF, and that is equal to what? 0. This is equation number 3. This is what? Equation number 3. By using equation 1, 2 or 3, we can find the current flowing through any branch of Virchows network. Current flowing through what? Any branch of Virchows network. Now there is a special case. As the name itself suggests, this is Virchows bridge. This Virchows bridge is said to be balanced. This bridge is said to be balanced. Bridge balanced. Only when the 2 points B and D across which galvanometer is connected, if they are equipotential, if they are what? Equipotential, means when VB is equal to VD, we can say that bridge is balanced. And when VB equal to VD, then current flowing through galvanometer Ig, it becomes equal to what? 0. It becomes equal to 0. So a bridge is said to be balanced, means Virchows bridge is balanced only when galvanometer is connected across 2 equipotential points B and D, or ultimately current flowing through galvanometer, when it is 0, then you can say bridge is balanced. Then you can say what? Bridge is balanced. And under the bridge balancing condition, these 4 resistors, they are related by certain relation, and that we can obtain just by substituting Ig equal to 0 first in equation 2 and then in equation number 3. So put Ig equal to 0 in equation number 2, we get minus I1 into P minus of 0 into G plus of I2 into S is equal to 0, or minus I1 P is equal to minus I2 into S. This term becomes 0, or I1 into P equal to I2 into S. This is equation number 4. Similarly, put the value of Ig equal to 0, which is the bridge balancing condition, in equation number 3. This is our equation number 3. So minus of I1 minus 0 into Q plus I2 plus Ig means 0 into R plus Ig 0 into G equal to 0. Or this is what? Minus I1 Q. Minus I1 into Q plus I2 into R plus 0 equal to 0. Or minus I1 Q is equal to minus I2R, or I1Q is equal to I2R. I1Q is equal to what? I2R. This is equation number 5. Now divide equation 4 by equation 5. So we will get, write the left hand side of equation 4, it is I1 into P, divided by, write down the left hand side of equation 5, this is I1 into Q is equal to I2 into S divided by I2 into R. So this I1 get cancelled, I2 get cancelled, and we have the relation P by Q is equal to S by R. So remember, whenever this Wheatstone's bridge is balanced, the 4 resistors in the 4 arms of Wheatstone's network, they are related by relation P by Q is equal to S by R. So this condition is known as bridge balancing condition. Known as what? Bridge balancing condition. If any 3 of them are known to us, then we can determine the value of what? 4th unknown resistance. We can determine the value of 4th unknown resistance. 4th unknown resistance. So one of the example which was given in your textbook, that is on page number 217, that at what value should the variable resistor Q be set up such as to balance the bridge. So here this is a Wheatstone's bridge, and when Wheatstone's bridge is balanced, what is that bridge balancing condition? See carefully. A and C, they are diagonally opposite corners. So therefore, the ratio of Q divided by S, it must be equal to P divided by R. So the bridge balancing condition, which is normally we are taking at P by Q is equal to S divided by R. But here P is what? Resistance Q divided by Q is what? Resistance S. S is what? Resistance P, and R is R. So just to confuse you, they were given the name to the resistor as Q and that of S. Q and P is given, we have taken it as S and that of R. So Q by S equal to P by R, therefore Q is equal to SP divided by what? R. What is the value of S? Value of S is 4.4 kilo ohm, means 4400, into P 1.36 kilo ohm, means 1360 kilo ohm, divided by R is equal to what? 300. So these 2 zeros get cancelled, and we are left with 440 into 136 divided by 3, and it comes to be 19940. The value of this, it comes to be 19940 ohm. So unknown resistance Q is equal to 19940 ohm. Now look at this branch. What is the net resistance of this branch? Resistance of RADC, branch ADC, is equal to resistance between point A and D plus resistance between point D and C, which is equal to resistance Q plus S, that is 19940 plus 4400 ohm, or RADC is equal to 24430. 24340. So this resistance is 24340 ohm. Now potential difference across any 2 points. Suppose I want to measure potential difference across point A and B. VAD. According to Ohm's law, potential difference is nothing but current multiplied by resistance. What is the current flowing between point A and D? I1. What is the resistance between point A and D? It is 19940. 19940. Now to find out the value of I1, current I1 is equal to potential difference between point A and that of C divided by resistance between point A and C, that is RAD. What is potential difference between point A and C? A is connected to positive terminal, C is connected to negative terminal, and EMF of cell is 30, so VAC is 30 divided by the effective resistance of branch RADC. It is found to be equal to 24340. 24340, this much ampere. Therefore, VAD, which is equal to I1 into 19940. Now this becomes equal to 30 divided by 24340 multiplied by 19940. And if you just calculate this, it comes to be 24.58 volt. Means potential difference between point A and D is 24.5 volt. And potential difference means I can write this as VA minus of VD. Similarly, we can have another branch which is again connected across point A and C. We know potential difference between A and C is 30 volt. We know the effective resistance of this branch, it is 1360 plus 300. So RABC is equal to RAB plus RBC, which is nothing but resistance P plus resistance R, which is 1360 plus 300, which is equal to 1660 ohm. Therefore, we can find the value of current I2. I2 is equal to, I2 is flowing from A to C along this branch. So I2 is equal to potential difference between point A and C divided by resistance offered by branch RABC, which is equal to 30. Potential difference same, 30. And what is RABC? It is equal to 1660, this much ampere. Now, potential difference between point A and B, VAB, which is also equal to VA minus of VB, is equal to potential difference between any two points is the product of current and resistance across those 2 points. Current is I2, resistance is what? Resistance is 1360, 1.360 means 1360, or this is equal to value of current I2 is 30 divided by 1660 multiplied by 1360. Again, if you calculate this, it comes to be 24.58 volt. Now, I want to find out output voltage. V out is equal to Vx minus Vy. Vx minus of Vy. Means this Vb minus of Vd, because x is connected to B, y is connected to D. Therefore, Vb minus Vd. Or this can be written as VA minus VD, VA minus VD minus of VA minus VB. See here, this VA minus VA cancel, minus of minus it becomes plus, so VB minus VD. But VA minus VD is 24.58 and VA minus VB is 24.58, and that is equal to what? 0 volt. That is equal to 0 volt. So in board examination, there might be a question for 2 marks that explain the use of Wheatstone's bridge in the measurement of what? Strain. Now here I have shown a strain gauge. This part is a strain gauge. Strain gauge is used to measure strain. Strain gauge, it is a device used to measure what? A strain. And as far as the resistance of strain gauge R suffix G is concerned, resistance of strain gauge is directly proportional to strain acting on that device. It means if the strain acting on that strain gauge device is concerned, if it is changing, there is a change in resistance. What is the maximum variation in the resistance of strain gauge due to variation in strain? When strain acting on strain gauge is varying, then the resistance of strain gauge, it varies within the limit of 30 ohm to a maximum of 3000 ohm. If a small strain is applied to a strain gauge over that device, if we apply some small force, it means if that device is pressed slightly or it is stretched slightly, in both the case, strain acting on device is small. Due to small variation in strain, resistance of that device also changes by small amount, and in order to measure a small variation in resistance of strain gauge with a greater accuracy, always make use of Wheatstone's bridge. So here in this circuit I have shown that how to make use of Wheatstone's bridge in order to measure the strain which is acting on strain gauge. For that, a strain gauge is connected in place of what? One of the unknown resistors. Here the two resistors R1 and R2, they are of same value. Resistance R3 is variable, means you can change the value of resistance R3. And here it forms a Wheatstone's network. So here R3 divided by Rg, it must be equal to R1 by R2, that is the bridge balancing condition. So here, in order to measure the strain, first we will keep, or first no force is applied on a strain gauge. No force is applied on a strain gauge. Means it is neither pressed nor stretched. And no force is applied means strain acting on strain gauge is 0. Now adjust the position of resistance R3 in such a manner that if I just connect a voltmeter here, pointer of voltmeter, it must coincide with what? 0 mark. Means voltmeter shows 0 deflection. This is possible only when that Wheatstone's bridge is balanced. Whenever Wheatstone's bridge is balanced, then only this pointer of voltmeter shows 0 deflection. And under bridge balancing condition, we know that 4 resistors in the 4R, they are related by the relation R3 divided by Rg. R3 divided by Rg is equal to R1 divided by R2. But R1 is equal to R2, therefore R3 is equal to Rg. And the strain corresponding to this condition, it is measured as 0 gauge. It is measured as what? A 0 gauge. Now in the second half, we apply some strain, means we will either compress it or we will either stretch it. Due to compressing or due to stretching, the strain acting on strain gauge will change. It means the electrical resistance of strain gauge will change, means Rg changes. Due to what? Due to the strain applied to it. It means this Wheatstone bridge does not balance, means R1 by R2 is not equal to R3 divided by Rg. Whenever strain is applied to the strain gauge, means when the strain gauge is compressed or stretched, there is a variation in resistance R3, and pointer of voltmeter, it does not show zero deflection. It means it will show some deflection. Why it shows some deflection? Because there is some potential difference. The deflection of voltmeter, that is VA minus VB, because voltmeter is used to measure potential difference. So the deflection of voltmeter is directly proportional to the strain applied to a strain gauge. Greater the strain applied, greater will be the deflection shown by voltmeter. Smaller the strain applied, smaller is the deflection shown by a voltmeter. So in this way, we can make use of Wheatstone's bridge for the measurement of strain. There might be a question for 2 marks on this bit. So one of the important examples from your textbook, that is unsolved, which we are given on page number 229. So find the equivalent resistance between the terminal. By mistake in textbook, find the equivalent resistance between the terminal A and B. It is not A and B, it is between B and that of point F. And as far as this network is concerned, every resistance has a value of what? 10 ohm. So we want to find out the effective resistance between the point B and that of F. For that purpose, we will make use of Kirchhoff's voltage law. So apply Kirchhoff's voltage law to one of the closed loop. So one of the closed loop to which we have to apply Kirchhoff's voltage law, it may be F, G, H, J, F. F, G, H, J, F. Now F to G, current is I1. What is the resistance? 10. So I can write it as 10 I1. And current is flowing in a direction in which we are tracing the circuit. Therefore, it is taken with negative sign as per sign convention of Kirchhoff's voltage law. From G to H, current is I1 minus I2. Corresponding resistance is what? 10. And current is flowing in a direction same as that of direction in which we are tracing the circuit. Therefore, this product of I and R, it is taken with negative sign. Now move from S to J. Current is I minus of I1. Resistance is 10. Here conventional current is flowing opposite to that of direction in which we are tracing the circuit. Therefore, this product I into R, it is taken with plus sign. Again move from J to F. Current is I minus of I1. Resistance is 10. Conventional current is flowing in opposite direction. So it is again taken with what? Plus sign. And that is equal to 0. Now simplify it. So it is minus 10 I1. Minus 10 I1. Minus of minus plus 10 I2. Plus 10 I. Minus 10 I1. Plus 10 I minus 10 I1 is equal to 0. Now collect the terms of I1. Minus 10 I1, minus 10 I1, minus 10 I1, minus 10 I1 means minus 40 I1. Collect the terms of I2 together. Only one term of I2 plus 10 I2. Then collect the terms of I. Here two terms of I. 10I plus 10I. So it is what? 20I. Is equal to 0. Now divide both the side by 10. So it can be written as minus 4I1 plus I2 plus 2I is equal to 0. So this is our equation number 1. Now apply. We can consider one more closed loop. Apply Kirchhoff's voltage law to a closed loop. आता खालचा एक लूप घेतला, मी वरचा एक लूप घेईल. G A B H G. G A B H G. Now apply Kirchhoff's voltage law. On applying Kirchhoff's voltage law, move from G to A. Current is I2. Resistance is 10. Conventional current is flowing in the same direction in which we are tracing the circuit. So product IR will be taken with what? Negative sign. From A to B, current is I2, resistance is 10 and current is flowing in the direction of in the direction in which we are tracing the circuit. So therefore, it is taken with negative sign. Then move from B to H. Current is I minus I2 and resistance is 10. Conventional current is flowing opposite to that of direction in which we are tracing the circuit. So it is taken with what? Plus sign. Then move from H to G. Conventional resistance is 10. Conventional current is I1 minus I2 and that is equal to 0. Because current is flowing in opposite direction, therefore that product is taken with what? Plus sign. Now simplify this. So this is minus 10 I2 minus 10 I2 plus 10 I minus 10 I2 plus 10 I1 minus 10 I2 is equal to 0. Collect the terms of I2. Minus 10 I2 minus 10 I2 minus 10 I2 minus 10 I2 means minus 40 I2 minus 40 I2. Collect the terms of I1. This is plus 10 I1. So plus 10 I1. And the term of I is plus 10 I is equal to 0. Now write this equation. Divide this equation by 10 and write it in this manner. So it becomes, see here, 10 I1 divided by 10. So it is I1 minus 40 I2 divided by 10. So it is minus 4 I2 plus 10 I divided by 10 means it is I is equal to 0. This is equation number 2. Similarly, we can apply Kirchhoff's, we can consider a closed loop. Closed loop. Starting from point E, E to F, F to J, J to H, H to B, B to C, then through this source of EMF, we will return back to what? E. So consider a closed loop, E, F, J, H, B, C, D and back to E. Apply Kirchhoff's voltage law. E to F, no resistance. F to J, current is I minus I1, resistance is 10, conventional current is flowing in the same direction, so product is negative. J to H, current is I minus I1, resistance is 10 and conventional current is flowing in the same direction as that in which we are tracing the circuit. From H to B, current is I minus I2, resistance is 10. Again current is flowing in the same direction in which we are tracing the circuit, so it is taken with negative sign. Then from B to C and from C to D and from D to what? E. While moving from D to E there is a source of EMF E and within the source we are moving from negative terminal towards the positive terminal. Therefore, EMF of that cell is taken as positive and that is equal to 0. Now simplify this. So this is minus 10I minus of minus plus 10I1 minus 10I minus of minus plus 10I1 minus 10I minus of minus plus 10I2 plus E is equal to 0. Now collect the terms of I1. 10I1, 10I1. So this is 20 I1. Collect the terms of I2. This is 10 I2. So it is plus 10 I2. Now collect the terms of I. So this is minus 10 I minus 10 I minus 10 I means 30 minus 30 I plus E is equal to 0. This is equation number 3. This is what? Equation number 3. Now we want to simplify these three equations so as to obtain the value of I1 and that of I2. Now look at this equation number 1. We are having the terms of I1 and here is what? Minus 4 I1. So I want to vanish I1 means I multiply equation 2 and add it to equation 1. So by equation 1 plus 4 into equation 2. Equation 1 plus 4 into equation 2. So I will write equation 1 minus 4 I1 plus I2 plus 2I is equal to 0. This is my equation number 1. Now while writing equation 2, I will multiply it by 4. So it is 4I1. 4 into 4 minus 16I2. 4 into I plus 4I is equal to 0. And if I just add this is 0. I2 and minus 16I2 minus 15I2 plus 6 is equal to 0. Therefore, minus of 15I2 is equal to minus 6. Therefore, I2 is equal to 6 divided by 15, or it is equal to 2 divided by 5 ampere. I2 is equal to 2 divided by 5 I, not ampere, 2 divided by 5 I minus 6 I. So it is 2 divided by 5 I. Now put this value of I2. Put this value of I2 in either of the equation. You may put it either in equation number 1 or in equation number 2. So I will put it in equation number 2. So what I will get? I1 minus of 4 into I2 is what? 2 divided by 5I plus I is equal to 0. Therefore, I1. Now see here, 4 2s are 8 minus 8 by 5, and here it is 1. So plus 1 minus 8 by 5 I is equal to 0. Or I1. Now 5 minus 8 is minus 3. I1 minus 3 by 5 I is equal to 0. Or we have I1 is equal to 3 by 5 I. I1 is equal to what? 3 by 5 I. Now we can put the value of I1 and I2 in equation number 3. In equation number 3. So equation 3 becomes 20 into, what is I1? 20 into 3 by 5 I plus 10 into, what is I2? 2 by 5 I minus 30 I plus E is equal to 0. 5 ones are 5, 5 fours are 20, 5 ones are 5, 5 twos are 10. So 4 into 3, that is 12I plus 2 into 2, 4I minus 30I plus E is equal to 0. Now 12 plus 4, 16 minus 30 means 14. So therefore minus 14I plus E is equal to 0, or E is equal to 14I. E is equal to what? 14I. This is our equation number 4. Now if I just say, or if I just consider the effective resistance between point F and B is R dash. Effective resistance between point F and B, it is RFB. So RFB, it is the effective resistance between point F and B. And across point F and B, we have connected a source of EMF E. So E must be equal to, what is the current flowing between point F and B? Here current I enters, here current I leaves. So according to Ohm's law, EMF of a cell is equal to current I multiplied by resistance between them. So E is equal to I into RAB. This is equation number 5. Now if I just equate the right hand side of equation 4 and equation 5, I will get I into RFB is equal to 14I. So this I get cancelled with I. So effective resistance between the junction point F and B of this network, it is equal to 14 ohm. It is equal to what? 14 ohm. So in board examination, there might be a question for 4 mark as per this example is concerned.